This is HuffPost Live, and I'm Mike Sachs. Today is the first Monday in October, also known as opening day at the Supreme Court. The justices had their summer off to recover from last term's bruising healthcare cases, and only a couple minutes ago, they finished hearing the first two oral arguments of a new term, a term that promises some blockbuster cases on affirmative action, same-sex marriage, and voting rights. Joining me to discuss what we can expect from One First Street over the next 9 months are Elizabeth Wydra, the Chief Counsel at the Constitutional Accountability Center. We have Ilya Shapiro, a Senior Fellow in Constitutional Studies at the Cato Institute. Josh Blackman from South Texas College of Law and creator of FantasySCOTUS.com. And Steve Vladeck from American University's Washington School of Law. So, guys, thank you for joining me. I want to first ask Elizabeth. Last term, right, the theme seemed to be the scope of the federal government. This term is the theme. Are we going back to the social issues, the culture war that galvanized the court and politics for the last generation?
I think, last term we thought was the term of the century. But this term, I think, could really give last term a run for its money. We have, as you said, important social issues coming up. It's likely that the court will grant review in the at least one of the cases in implicating marriage equality, same-sex marriage. And we also have, as you mentioned from last term, some of the same questions about the power of the national government to provide solutions to national problems.
I feel like we have issues that have been perpetually politically charged, but you're not hearing them really come up that much in politics now. It really is just something that's happening at One First Street. You're not hearing affirmative action on the campaign trail.
Yeah, you're not hearing about the court at all on the campaign trail, and I think that's a mistake that the Romney camp is making because the Obamacare decision was hugely unpopular in the country, and the court was thrown into some disrespect for people thinking that it was a purely political, non-legal decision, and Romney hasn't taken advantage of that.
What do you think is, what do you think is going on this term with the justices coming back from a particularly acrimonious end, at least how it was reported at the end of the term? Do you think their personal dynamics kind of at all shape how they decide and approach cases this term?
Well, in the one sense, Chief Justice Roberts' vote can be seen as buying a lot of political capital. By kind of splitting the difference and ruling in favor of the president, he might have maintained the court's legitimacy. And he very well may try and spend that now in his efforts to strike down affirmative action, strike down the Voting Rights Act, maybe deny a right to same-sex marriage in a lot of cases. But the more important issue is how Roberts will be able to interact with his conservative colleagues. Will there be any resentment from Scalia or Kennedy? Or will they kind of just go back to business?